Hey everybody, welcome to the Keeper of the Gains podcast. I'm your host, John Gallup, and my guest today is Nikita Wilson. What's up, Nikita?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. So Nikita Wilson is a strongman competitor in the area, and we're going to kind of learn about her experiences of going from CrossFit to strongman and just her general experiences in the fitness community. So Nikita, tell us where you're from and what got you into Wichita.
I am originally from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is more known for Destin, Florida. It's a very touristy area. I grew up there, and I started my fitness journey with Militia Fitness there. I did some traveling for work for a little while. Been to Seattle, and I've actually been to India, the country, for a little bit. And now I'm here in Wichita, Kansas, for work again.
And who do you work for right now?
Right now I work for Flint Hills Resources, which is a Coke company.
Okay, yeah.
So I do procurement over there. I just buy a bunch of stuff for the company.
I gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And are you enjoying Wichita? Or
Yeah.
you do? Okay.
I actually really like it. Everybody asks why I stay here, and I like it. The consistency, the seasons, everything about it just fits my lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, I guess Florida doesn't really have a whole lot of seasons, does it? Yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah. What's the biggest difference you notice between Florida and here outside of like the weather? Like are the people a lot different or?
Just the inconsistency with the people and the life schedules. So, with here, everyone is here to basically work and live. And down there, you just have an influx of out-of-state people who are just kind of doing their thing during the week, which causes issues just for everyday life tasks. You're trying to go to the grocery store and you got traffic jam for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yes.
And then you have the inconsistency in pricing. So you'll have fuel prices that'll be pretty low, but then it'll skyrocket for spring break. And
Yep.
it's not an area that I'd want to live and raise a family and kind of grow up in.
Right, right. No, I agree with you
Yeah.
because I was in California is where I met my
Okay.
wife. And we lived out there for about 5 years. And I agree with you on that. Like, must be like a coastal thing because it was
Yeah.
very inconsistent. Gas prices would either skyrocket
Right.
or drop. And the traffic, my brother came out to visit one time, and it took us 30 minutes to get to the movie theater. But then on the way back, it took us 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just like that was a regular occurrence in
Yeah.
that Southern California area. And I'm like, I'm not going to raise a family here. This is not what I want to do. We're
Right.
moving to either my wife's, beginnings or
Right.
my hometown. So
yeah, just the stress of it just wasn't for me at all. Plus the as far as work and the opportunities career-wise just aren't present in that area for me.
Yeah. So, but Florida's where you got your introduction into the fitness community.
Yes.
Tell us about the origins, the beginning.
Yeah, so I've always been an athlete as a child. I did soccer, competitive soccer, and then martial arts for about 11 years. Played high school sports, volleyball and soccer. And then I kind of got into weightlifting or CrossFit through Militia Fitness, which is based out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. So I've been a member there for, I think about 8 years now. 8 years I've been with Militia Fitness, if I can remember correctly. So I was kind of just a basic CrossFit athlete at the time when I started. Just a lot of your basic workouts. Wasn't really into being strong. I was actually very fearful of it. Just the idea of climbing under weight that was hard for me to work through the movement, it terrified me.
Like on a physical level, you're saying? Like you thought you'd get hurt? Or...
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I was afraid I was going to get hurt, especially on max out days. I remember my coach at the time having to give me that pep talk, like, you'll be okay, you can do it, you have to believe in yourself. And, finally, I feel like one day, it just clicked. Like, I had an epiphany. Like, I can be strong and just stop being scared to push my limits. So I was one of those who never really truly maxed out, like I was always fearful of dropping a back squat or... You
were always 20 pounds under your max.
I was always like, my 1 rep max was just like impeccable form and super easy, no grinding.
Yeah.
And one day I just had an epiphany, just like, okay, you got to stop. You have to just really... You're not training to your full potential because you're holding yourself back mentally. And my coach at the time kind of gave me a little bit of a talk and pushed me to work out on a different program. So I changed programs to a more competitive type of program for higher level athletes who were stronger, wanted to get into competitions, whether that was CrossFit or weightlifting or whatever it was. And I had a really awesome workout partner, so that always helps.
Was a girl as well?
It was a girl,
Okay.
yeah. It was Kimmy, and she was just really strong, too. And so we had similarities in the types of athlete that we were. So she was super strong at squatting, short, so of course she squats really well. But so I trained with her for a good 3 years. And during that time period was when I guess I could just say blossomed into this strength athlete. It's when I finally stopped being scared to truly max out or to truly see how strong I was. And it kind of became that obsession, you know, like, oh, I just want to get stronger. I want to get stronger, you know, because this is fun. This is awesome. It feels good to be challenged or to challenge yourself and then just like achieve things that you didn't think was possible. Like I remember the day that I front squatted 200 pounds and I literally just cried. Like it was just so it was so exciting to me that 200 pounds I was able to front squat, and it was something that you dreamed of, you know, like those weights or those numbers you dream of, and you just think like, yeah, that'd be so awesome to hit that, but part of you also thought like, oh, that's never gonna happen,
right?
You know,
right.
so like hitting a front squat was awesome, and we just really pushed each other. The atmosphere and the community with Militia Fitness is really great. I think just the way that everyone approaches workouts and their mindset about fitness. You know, like you don't always have to give up your normal life for fitness if you want to be a competitive athlete. And that's what I think a lot of people think. You're like, oh, I'm going to compete. The whole world has to stop. My life has to stop. And I never wanted to do that. So as I became a little bit more competitive, and I think when I first started competing in fitness competitions, it was local CrossFit competitions, and I think I did a weightlifting meet, which is clean and jerk and snatch. And I did those, and they were fun. You know, it pushes you. You gotta.
Was the Olympic lifting meet really fun?
Yeah,
you liked
actually,
it?
It was.
Oh,
it was.
okay.
I was really good at the Olympic lifts at the time.
Okay.
So, and for my body weight, I ended up winning like first place.
Well, that definitely makes it fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So I had a decent clean and jerk and a snatch at the time, and so it was cool. I mean, it was out of my comfort zone. So I think that's what I liked about it.
It is a different environment.
Yeah,
and that's why I was asking, was it really fun? Because the Olympic meets, like you go in there and like you can hear a pin drop sometimes,
right, yeah,
depending on
so
the one you go to. It's just so quiet and everyone's so serious. And you're just like, are we at a funeral or are we like lifting weights? What's going on here? But it is, and everyone's just staring at you too. It's like, what's this girl going to lift? Is she going to bail to clean? You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me and when I would compete, I never went in with this mindset that I had to win. I was always, and I still am today, I approach everything like how much better am I than the last time I did this. So if every day I step in the gym and I'm 1% better than I was the day before, well, over a year, 1% every day, you know, that's over 300% better.
Yeah.
You know, so when I have a bad day or not an awesome competition, I don't really look at it as a failure. I look at it as, okay, well, what am I taking from that I'm better at today? Maybe it's my mindset, maybe it's my attitude, maybe it's my preparation up to it. You know, maybe I slept really bad, you know, or whatever. Like I try to evaluate it and walk away with a positive, not, hey, you got last place. You know.
Yeah.
So with CrossFit, when I was competing in CrossFit, it was fun. But I just kind of didn't really care that much, you know? Like,
it was a for fun thing.
Yeah, it was for fun. It was kind of like what all the cool kids are doing, you know? Like, it was... And I didn't know about other sports at the time. Like, I knew of powerlifting and a little bit about strongman and weightlifting, obviously, but I didn't know that there was so many other aspects of fitness in different sports you could compete in.
Right.
Not only that you could compete in, but that I could compete in.
Right. Things that you were good at. Your niche. Yeah.
Or that I could use what I was good at and become good at another sport. So that was interesting to me. And as far as strongman, how I got into strongman, it was kind of the same concept. I just local event came up in the area, and a couple people from the gym were just excited about it. They had signed up. Nobody had ever competed in anything strongman related from Militia Fitness.
Right, so there's no expectations. Go out there, see what happens.
Yeah, and I didn't sign up immediately. I was terrified. I'm not going to lie. It was probably one of the most terrifying things I ever did. But eventually, with some convincing, me being me, I said, yeah, sure, why not? What do I have to lose? So I think I prepared a little bit for it, kind of worked through some of the events. I'm trying to remember what they were. There was stone load, so Atlas stones and yoke carry. And there was a press medley, I believe, or a circus dumbbell. So basically all of the events I had never done. We had a little bit of strongman equipment at Militia Fitness at the time. We were kind of acquiring a lot of it. And so I remember going out there. I had zero expectations. I was just there to enjoy the experience. Yeah. And be around different athletes in that environment. And with Militia Fitness, because of their community is so strong, I knew I was going to have a good time because everybody comes out and they support. It's very similar to CrossFit and
That's
things
so
like
important.
That. Yeah, it
It's
really
so important
is.
for
Really
the development of an athlete.
Yeah, of course. You don't ever want to feel alone or isolated or, when you're competing, especially in something new, you already have a lot of stress and fear and anxiety and negative things. Like if you don't have a support system or even a community of friends and things, it's hard. It's hard. So, I had a blast. I mean, I still remember that day I had a blast. I remember the final event, it was a 3-stone load, and I had never picked up the heaviest stone ever in practice. Never even budged it. And I had to pick it up and I had to put it over a bar at 50 inches high. And I remember hitting that stone in, I think it was like an eighth of a second with enough time, which ended up qualifying me for nationals. So I made nationals by like an eighth of a second. I ended up taking 3rd place, and they gave national invites to the top 3 girls. And I remember just like, my coach just looking at me and asking, you can go to nationals? And I'm like, I don't know. You think I should go? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And I'm like, all right, cool. It's like in a month or so. I'm like, all right, whatever. So me and one other girl, Jessie Bowen, she's a co-owner of Militia Fitness, or she's actually the owner of Militia Fitness. She qualified as well. And so I think she was in a lower weight class than me. She was in the lightweights. Just the way my weight fell at the time, I ended up being a middleweight. And being new to the sport, I didn't really have any desire to cut weight. That actually was extremely terrifying. Thinking about cutting, I think at the time I would have been 10 pounds, which now is nothing, but at the time that seemed pretty much impossible. So I competed as is. I didn't cut weight. I didn't do any weight manipulation, but her and I trained for nationals for about 2 months, and we were able to train almost all the events, but we didn't have a circus dumbbell. Yeah. We just did not have that implement at the gym.
Did you guys just use the heaviest dumbbells you could find at the gym?
We did. Yeah. And I could not press the weight. I couldn't. Yeah. The weight for middleweight was 90 pounds. Yeah. And I had to do it for reps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, could never do it.
So real quick, for those listening, a circus dumbbell is this giant dumbbell, and they usually fill it with like lead shot and stuff. What was yours filled with?
There's plate loadable ones.
There's plate loadable ones. Yeah. Is that the one that you ended up competing with?
Yeah, it was a plate loadable one.
But just imagine just basically a giant dumbbell. That's what it is. And you have to press it with one arm over your head. For this one, did they have like all the reps on one side, or just like you had to switch sides?
You could use any arm you wanted.
But you usually would just stick with that one arm.
Stronger arm. Yeah, and normally the handle is about 2 to 3 inches thick, so it's more like an axle bar.
Right.
Versus real skinny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I started. That's how it all kind of just, and then from there it was just a snowball. It was a snowball effect in the sport for me. Yeah. I fell in love in that first competition. It was Alabama's Strongest Man. And Chris Slater, who's a really, really good friend and an awesome advocate for the sport, puts that event on every year. And I try to compete every year. Just it's my first one. It's kind of sentimental to me. It's in my hometown, so I get to go back and see family and compete with friends most of the time. So I try to hit that about every year. And, just from there, it kind of just all snowballed. So, I mean, the story continues. But
Yeah, so that was like the tipping
that was
point.
like the tipping point
Yeah.
of getting in